To Celebrity Radio, it's Alex Belfield talking to some of the country's biggest stars and one of my favourite people too. Gary Lucy, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Yourself?
Do you know, I'm great. I've just sat through 2.5 hours of a show surrounded by 2,500 women. I was the only man in the audience, so it's great to see you with your clothes on.
Thank you, thank you. And thank you for surviving and coming backstage to meet me.
Do you know what? This is beautifully produced and they've done a great job in making you look good and making everybody else look good, and you really drive the show. This is your show, isn't it?
Well, I mean, I'm the lead in the show. I play Gaz, who is obviously in the full Monty, which is Robert Carlyle's role previously in the film. So no pressure or anything. But I mean, you know, it's all about lots of energy and you know, obviously telling the story as best you possibly can.
I'm a deeply unattractive man, and I've never had girls wooing and whooping when I walk on. But from the second you walk on that stage, there they are. They think you're delicious. It must be great to be you.
I would say it's probably the good lighting. To be fair, definitely down to the lighting and some trickery, but no, it's, you know, obviously it's nice feeling.
I'm from the north, you're from the south. What's interesting in this, it's really written for people like me with this gritty northern humour. If you like Coronation Street, you're going to love this. You get some great singers, and it's full of that northern sarcasm, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's got real great northern humour in it. You know, all the lads kind of, you know, pulling together and with their own issues, which are very relevant today, with, you know, body conscious issues and, you know, the other guy who's battling his sexuality, and, you know, then obviously myself, who looks like he'd be losing his son within the show. So yeah, it's got real heart to it, but it's very funny.
It is incredibly witty. And then a guy like me sits there and goes, well, I could never be a stripper. And of course, the point of this show is women don't really care. Personality often wins over looks. And even though you're the nice bit of trouser, you don't have, well, the greatest gift in the show, do you? There's somebody who tops you on that.
Absolutely right, yeah. James Redmond plays Guy, gets his big schlong out at the end of Act 1, and they all go crazy. You can feel the energy pick up, like, that's what we came to see, especially on a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday and Saturday night. Those audiences are definitely hungry.
This is a party, this show, we should say. I mean, the end of Act 1 and the end of Act 2 is the most famous scene from the movie. And people love it, don't they? And they're waiting for it. I guess they couldn't really mess with that bit. No,
absolutely not. No, and you've got the doll queue, obviously, as well. And Rupert Hill, who's directed this particular version, he's done an amazing job of, you know, it is a party. You can just feel you know, they've come away from all the nonsense that everyone has in their everyday life, and they have 2 hours and they can just forget about it and just have a laugh. And that's what we do.
You've been with it a long time through various incarnations, and here you are now still doing it. Yeah. Is there going to be a point where they're going to go, no, you're too old now, you can't do it, you're going to be the juvenile lead forever?
Who knows? I mean, you know, at the moment they keep paying me to take my clothes off, but that seems to be a running theme in every job that I do at the moment. So while they do that, I must make the most of it, because no doubt soon they'll be paying me to put my clothes back on. So yeah.
You talk about the pressure of being hot. I mean, do you worry about it, or do you just stay present in being you these days? Because seriously, nobody's looking at me to be attractive, so I don't really care. But I guess you have still got to be the studly guy, because that's what they're hiring you for.
Well, I mean, no, not really. I mean, luckily, I think part of the charm is the fact that they're still workers and we're all normal guys, we're all different shapes and sizes. So I think that's, luckily, I can get away with it. I mean, if it was obviously Magic Mike, I wouldn't be in it. And the pressure would be on for anyone that's in that. But no, this is, you know, it's a play about normal guys battling against, you know, lots of different things that are real, you know, real life issues, and, you know, obviously having a party along the way.
What's so great about this, you shine as an actor and you shine as a comedian too. What's more important, getting the funny lines right or getting the heart right with the little boy? Because that's the moment the tears start coming for the ladies, where they go, there's a dad who loves his son.
Yeah. I mean, that for me, when I watched the original in the West End, that was the most important thing to me. You know, the relationship with the son, because, you know, it's a beautiful story, and you know, obviously I've got kids myself, so, you know, that was very important to me. And also, it's very funny without playing for the laughs. I mean, obviously you see a few moments where things are kind of played out, where people get a bit naughty, including myself occasionally. But you don't need to. I mean, you know, Simon Beaufoy, who wrote the original film, he's adapted perfectly to the stage, and you know, the dialogue has got a rhythm to it that actually you don't need to really play too much for laughs, you know.
He's also a piece of work, this kid. I mean, he's an amazing actor that is so charming.
He's amazing, absolutely fantastic. Yeah, young Fraser Kelly. I mean, another one of my sons, if you like, because Aidan, who plays my son in Hollyoaks, lovely guy as well, another fantastic young actor. I feel, you know, quite responsible for him and like to look after him and that, and I think he's doing amazing. He's fantastic.
Have you worked out what it is that you're still here after so long when so many have faded and disappear? I mean, fundamentally, you're a great actor and you always were. Being delicious is a nice add-on, but you've got to have a talent under it. I think people have forgotten that because you got it in ahead of the game of the reality people, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, just lucky, I think. I do your job and don't be an arse. Don't be don't be an arsehole, basically. And people, seem to always get employed by previous employers and people that I've worked with who weren't employing me, that were maybe, from the runners to the top, and I count myself very lucky. I work hard and love what I do, and hopefully it continues.
And this is a proper job. There's no showbiz in doing 8 shows a week touring the country. It's tough. I wonder how disciplined you are outside of the show, because you can't be getting drunk every night and going to clubs, because eventually you're going to fall, aren't you?
I'm too old to go into clubs now. You're joking. I mean, both might go to the Weatherspoons around the corner afterwards, or the theatre bar. But I can't really be going nightclubbing. It's I've got a 13-year-old daughter. I mean, you know what I mean. Most of them aren't much older than that in the nightclubs, I think, now.
When you go home and they either come to see you work or see you on TV, I guess that's the greatest affirmation of all. Having 2,500 people today at the Birmingham Hippodrome standing and cheering, standing ovation, I think, every single show for this. But I guess that hug from your daughter when you get home is going to beat all that.
Amazing, absolutely right. And they've been to see it as well. I mean, India came to Bromley to see the show and she loves it. A bit like that, obviously, at the end, mortified. No, it's a great feeling, and they've all seen the show, and they all love it. My boy, who's 7's favourite part is the big willy at the end of Act 1. He says, "I'm having the big willy." I'm like, "Yeah, Daddy's busted his balls for like 2 hours, and all you're interested in is the one who drops the schlong." Okay, and then the funky chicken, which is a horse's dance as well. That's his 2 favourite moments. Like, yeah, thanks, son.
There is some strong language in this, but because it's so charming, you really don't notice, and that's what's beautiful about great writing. It's not gratuitous at any point, although there are some very adult themes in it, and certainly adult language.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's real steel men and steel workers and, northers, rough and ready.
How long does it take you to learn a part like this? I mean, you don't stop from the second that curtain goes up till you take your kit off at the end and take your bow. I mean, it's constant. You're on, you're driving the whole thing. In
the original incarnation, it was with Roger Haynes, the director, and we probably did, I think, about 4 weeks rehearsals, I think. But most of that, to be perfectly honest, was I did obviously voice coaching, and Barbara Houseman, who's amazing, and Sally Haig, I think her name was, for the dialect, whatever dialect that is. I get lots of stick from my pals on that one, but anyway, so basically we did about 4 weeks, I think, in total, but most of that was spent moving bloody crates around to basically trying to get the whole thing to flow, which I had no idea of, because it's the first ever stage show I've done, and so I didn't realise the importance of that, making that as seamless as you can, but yeah, so I reckon about 4 weeks.
And the compliment is when you get rebooked. I always think anybody can get a gig, but it's whether you get rebooked, and they rebooked you and rebooked you and rebooked you. Yeah. That must be the greatest compliment of all.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, thank you very much. But David and Dafford, they're both amazing and really good to me, and I class them as friends as well as employers. I love what I do. I care about what I do. I care about the show, and I hope that when it's on the road, they don't worry too much about what's going on with it, because they know that we all, we care about it.
The calibre of acting in this is extraordinary, and even the smallest characters are so important, and there's beautiful undertones of the gay story which is there, and then of course there's the music added on top of that. But you've got some true legends in this, people who are just naturally funny and have proved it for decades.
Well, Kai Owen's amazing. He plays Dave opposite me. You've got Lewis Emmerich, who's great as Horse. Andrew Dunn, who's just, I call Andrew and Andrew and Lewis the wise men, because they are the two wise men. Basically we all kind of rein each other in, and if there's anyone kind of steps out of line across the way, or someone's pushed it a bit too far, you'll just get off. If it's me, I'll just get a little like that from Andy Dunn, and I'll just hear it and I go, all right, rein it in. Because it's a respect. At the end of the day, I respect him, totally. So if I have any thought that he may be getting upset with anything, then I just go, okay, sorry.
Today they were pretty excited, but they weren't wild, and they certainly weren't drunk because it was a Saturday matinee. But tonight they probably are going to have a couple of drinks. Are there moments where you just can't carry on because they say something that's so ridiculous in the audience? Yeah,
you have to. I think Roger Haynes used to tell us, you wait for the wave to as soon as it starts to dip, you have to come straight in. I mean, certain places we go to or have been to, like Blackpool or Glasgow, they're just absolutely bonkers. And for the minute the curtain goes up, you're like, oh, when you've got 2 hours, just slow down, just sit back and enjoy it. And then they start arguing and fighting amongst themselves. We've had that as well. We've had like someone literally strangled over the balcony because obviously one was a theatre goer, one to sit and listen to the play, and the other one just wanted to see the end, if you know what I mean.
Right.
The schlong, if there still is one attached at that point. So the next thing, you know, I'm playing a lovely scene with my son, and I can see in the corner of my eye something going on. Just glanced up, and like, literally she was dangling her over the balcony. So yeah, we get all sorts in there.
Has there ever been a wardrobe malfunction with the end of Act 1? Because that would be awfully embarrassing.
A few times, yeah. You rip the trousers off, you're supposed to still have the thong on, and you go like that, and you go, shit, the whole thing's come off. But, you know, it's all part of fun of live theatre, isn't it?
The music in this is wonderful, and there are moments where there's energy just brought by those tracks. I mean, they're so perfectly picked. They're the tracks of our lives, really,
Absolutely
aren't they?
right, yeah, perfect, yeah.
Beautiful. And then we look at you at the end and that feeling of, I'm there now, although today you're only halfway there because you've got to do it again in about an hour's time. Is there any better feeling in theatre when you've got a standing ovation? I mean, you kind of expect it, but it's not guaranteed, is it?
No, I mean, you can't guarantee it. I mean, we're very lucky, you know. I count myself very lucky that the play, you know, pretty much sells out everywhere we go, and it's still selling out, and everyone's still buzzing. They love it, and you know, when they stand up at the end, because sometimes different audiences, like, we'll go from one place where they're going absolutely bonkers all week, and then we'll go somewhere else, like southern audiences, and they'll be sat there listening, but you're like, are they with us? Are they on the ride with us here? And at the end, they'll all jump up, and you're like, oh, thank God for that, you know, because it's just a different audiences and different towns and cities. They have different ways of being able to allow themselves to enjoy it. Something like that, you're like, you know, they're loving it, but they just don't want to be seen to love it.
It's really beautiful, and they've done such a beautiful job. It looks great, it sounds great, and you're brilliant in it. Congratulations to you and the whole cast. It's a beautiful 5-star show. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, man. Lovely to see you. Thank you very much.